Okay, so now you're going to take your upholstery thread or whatever thread you have and your needle, and you're going to tie the end together. And this is pretty much what I've done. I've taken the metallic, I've gone around the edges, I've started to decorate my little mini micro book. Now, the reason I've decorated it, I've removed all the little tags and things like that that's bulky, is because once you get these signatures sewn in, it's really hard to decorate. So I suggest that you try to, let me move my camera this way. I've messed in my desk. Try to get your signatures decorated before you sew it because it's so tight. Otherwise it's going to be really hard. Now if you have something bulky, maybe you'll leave it towards the end, but you want to really try to decorate it. It's going to be really tight to try to decorate it. Now you're going to cut out a piece of cardstock that is 2 inches by 2 3/4. You're going to score it down the middle, and that's to make your template for your signature piercing. Okay, now this is where the binder clips come in handy. You're going to pierce it first at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 5/8 of an inch, and then again at 2 1/8. So again, you're piercing it at a 1/2 inch. Now everyone, you don't have to do it this way, but it's entirely up to you. 1 inch, 1 5/8 of an inch, and 2 1/8 of an inch. Okay, that's where you're piercing your holes at. Okay, and then you're going to take that, once it's folded and scored like that, you're going to sandwich it in between your signatures. Now make sure, now how I make sure that everything's going in the right direction, I put a clip on the top that indicates that that is the top of my signature. I make sure all my pages are going in the right direction. Put my binder clip on the top so that I know that is the top part. Then I sandwich in my little template, take my little piercing mat and my awl, and I start to pierce all the way through until it comes out on the other end. Okay, and that's just that simple. You do that for all of them. Remove your little template, move it onto your next set of signatures. Again, I put a binder clip on the top to indicate that's the top, and one on the side if you want. Now I found that with these, because I'm doing the kettle stitch and it's really bulky, this side one is not necessary. Now when I do the single stitches, then yeah, I always use that one. So this one really is not so needed, but you want to make sure everything is flushed and right in the right direction. Okay, so I've come up with some really chunky ones. That does not faze me. I'm always doing that. Make sure you put them all how you want them, and then now that you have all the indications that everything is in the right place, going up, facing up, you're going to, this is my little book. See, that's how I know that I might not be able to get all this in to that little tiny spine. See? Yep, nope, it's not going to happen. So I have to eliminate two because I made it really bulky. That's just me, you know. And I also have to keep in mind that I do have my binder clip. So let's see how it does without the binder clip. Hold on. I just put some really, the flowers is what made it really bulky. I have some of these Hobby Lobby flowers. That made it bulky. I knew it was going to happen, but yeah, I could put in 3. Oh yeah, 3. We could do 3. I can do 3, and that's because I have some serious chunkiness going on here. So we're going to do 3. We'll leave this. I have 2 signatures that I could do another little, total 3 signatures that I could do another mini with that, and I have it already prepped. I just have to print the covers out. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so we have everything. Let's put those clips back up. Remember, top is for indication that that is the top part of your album, or your signature, sorry. And sandwich it in, flush it up, and clip. Yep. Alright, move that aside. Okay, now grab your needle. Now this does get a little bit tangled in because you have your embellishments in, but that's okay. Start by making your knot. Start in the top. Go in. And if you have a hard time getting that tail to stay put, grab your little painter's tape and just kind of pin it down. And then go back in to the second hole. Might be easier if you remove any of your little embellishments. It's just, I say that said, wait until you're done. Back in. Go down to the bottom hole, to the outside. Okay, so you're left with something like that. Then you're going to go back into this hole. You're going to go right all the way back to the top, okay? And this is the only signature you're going to do that to, okay? The first one, because that's your starter. Go back in. And back to that very first hole we started. And then you're going to take your needle and you're going to tie this off. And it's a little crooked there, but go underneath. And then wrap it around the little loopy loop and tie it. Okay. Go back into that hole, out to the front, and pull until you hear it pop, the little knot pops in. You don't want to pull it too hard that you're going to break your stuff. Alright, now grab your next signature. Again, clips on the top. I know that's my top indicator. Go in to that first hole from the outside. Okay? First hole from the outside into the inside. Okay? And you're in the inside, go to the second hole, and you're going to go to the outside. I wish I could zoom in my camera so you can see this. Alright, grab both. Okay. Now, sandwich it in. Pull it in tight. Now, you see this thread here from your second one? You're going to go under that one. Over to that one here. So it's almost like a U. You're going in and over, under both pieces of thread. Back into that hole, that second hole, from the outside in. Okay. Oh, these little clips, everything gets tied to it. Okay. Pull it tight. Alright. Into this hole. out to the outside. Okay, again, you're pulling in, go in underneath that one, that first signature thread, and you're going to do a little U-turn underneath both. Go over and under. Again, make sure you're under both pieces of thread. So again, there's a U-turn. Back into that hole we came out of. And I know my little hole was a little bit big, but that's because I am trying to do things backwards here so that you guys can see me. Okay. Pull tight, tight, tight. And then out the last hole. Oh, I got something here. There you go. Okay. So now you have your two signatures, just like so. And then you're going to go back in underneath this one, like that. Okay. All right. Okay, so we came out the end. Now we're going to go back under, but it's not a complete U. Grab your next signature. Again, make sure it's going in the right direction. And go in to that signature. It's a little bit more, because it's so bulky. This stitch normally is for like little single pages, but I decided to use it for this so that I can glue down the spine. Okay. You got it like that. Go back in to that one. Bring it out to the outside. It's bound to get tangled with your embellishments. Alright, now, here, I'll bring this up. You're going to go, again, you're going to do your U underneath the previous signature stitch. And we're going to, I don't have my glasses, so I'm hoping I'm in my previous. Underneath. This is where your little curvy needle will probably come into hand because it's so chunky. Oops. I went in the wrong one. See, I knew I was going to do that because I can't see. Sorry guys. That's the problem. That's what happens when you can't see, and I left my glasses downstairs. Alright, let's relax this here and remove this needle. Now the binding toolkit that I suggest does have the little curved needle, and that's what you guys want to use, especially when you have something this bulky and tight. Okay, so here we go. Get it in there. Let's remove these clips because the clips are in my way, but it's an indication for me. So you might want to put a paper clip or something instead of the binding clip, because for this particular stitch it's a little bit complex. I will show you with individual sheets so that you can get the hang of it. A lot easier to explain with the single sheet than a big bulky one like that, I guess. Alright, so pull it tight. You don't want to pull it too tight that you're going to tear your page, but you want to make sure it's tight enough. Hold it in your hand, and you're going to go in to that previous signature stitch. Okay, back into that hole. The eyes, the eyes. Okay, up to that other that little hole in the inside, out to the outside. Pull it, go into the previous signature stitch, make your little U-turn, go back into that hole, that same hole you came out of, into the inside. Okay, hold it, go back to the top, out to the back, into that signature stitch from the previous stitch, make a little U-turn and pull tight. Grab your next signature. Which one are we using? Oh, we decided on 3. That's right. Okay, so then because I did 3, you would do that same thing. I'm going to do it with individual sheets so you can get a hang of it. We're going to go back into that last hole. We're going to tie it off. And I'm going to explain it to you guys in a more simple way. Alright, so then I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to go under that stitch, and I'm going to make sure all my signatures are tied in there. Go under and go around the loopy loop and make a little knot. Tie it. Go back out to that hole, out to the outside. And pull your knot, and you're going to hear almost like a little popping noise. Pop it out, see? Popped it out. There. That is what it should look like, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and secure that a little bit more, and I'm going to make a couple little loopy loop knots just to secure it. And I'm going to show you guys with individual sheets how that would work so that you guys can understand that a little bit better. Now that should fit in there. I think I could do another one. Wow. Maybe. Let's see. It's kind of deceiving. It's just because, you know why I have all those embellishments and those embellishments, so it's the flowers. Let's squeeze that in. His flowers were just chunky. Well, we can try to get away with it with 4 signatures. See? It'd be super chunky. Or just a 1. I kind of like the chunkiness. So we're going to go with this one. It's not so decorated. Maybe that'll fit more snug in. Oh yeah. So this one's not as decorated. So we're going to go with that. We're going to do a fourth one, and it's not as decorated. Okay. So again, sandwich it up, and I keep saying I'm going to do it individually so you guys can see. Go back in to the inside. From the inside, go out. Pull it tight, snugged. Go underneath that previous signature stitch. Make your little U-turn. Pull it tight. Go back into that same hole you just came out of. Go back into your 3rd hole in the inside, out. In a perfect little world, you would have the ability not to do things backwards, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, back into the last signature stitch. Pull it tight, back into that hole that you just came out of, into the inside. Pull it tight, out to that last hole, and go into that last signature stitch. Make your little U-turn, back into that hole, and then you're going to tie it by going in, your signature, making a loopy loop. Oops. Go back through that same hole, out to the outside, and you're going to pull that knot until you hear it pop, and I'm just going to secure that by coming in and just making a couple random loopy-looped knots. Underneath that previous one, just go around, loop it, tie. Almost like when you're doing your running stitch and your knots. Okay, so it'll look like that. Alright, and then you can snip that off, and what you're going to do, you want a big binder clip to clip this all together, so you can grab your PVA glue and I would suggest leave your flowers to the end. Flowers were a little bit of a if you have a rubber band, you can grab a rubber band and maybe tie it around this way, not interrupting your spine. Let me see what I have that I could use. I don't have a rubber band. Anyway, what I'm going to do, let's see if I got my bigger binder clips. occupied with another project I'm working on. Let me find a rubber band. Okay, so I've cut my little threads. I've taken my rubber band and I've applied it this way, in the opposite direction. And what we're going to do here is always make sure it fits snug into your little spine area. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this glue and I'm just going to put some right in there to glue that down. Get those signatures in. And I'm putting a good chunk in there. Okay. Now, you can take a bookbinding press like this one that I have here, and I just kind of had my husband make this for me. I know they have little fancier ones out there, but basically what I want to do is I want to cover all that in, but I also want to keep it, you can keep it just like that, but if you have like a big chunkier one, you want to get like a book binding press and sandwich it in so it stays put. I'm gonna go in here and just let that dry up. Once it dries up and becomes really gummy, then we can take it and apply that to our spine area. Okay, so this here is going to dry up, and then we're going to take it and attach it to our wood spine. So I'm just going to let that sit there just like that. It should be fine, and because I have the rubber band keeping it in place. And then once we have that, then we're gonna attach it to this little piece here that we scored at 2 3/8 and at 3 1/4. Okay, now I wanted to show you guys how to do that kettle stitch a bit, so you guys get the hang of it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just made some little, I'm using that same one that I had used for this book, so, because this is just a sample. Oops. Sandwich it in. I'm going to use this one as a template because I want all these to be the same. So this is just to show you. This is, I'm not making a book here, but if you wanted to make like a little, you could take some, what do you call that? Watercolor paper and make your own art journal this way. You can. Alright, so we have all our little piercing in. Let me make sure that one's a little bit more profound. Awesome. Okay, so then what you're going to do, get your bone folder, burnish those in, and pretend these are your signatures, right, with all your junk like I have on that one there. See, and this would be like if you were making like a what do you call that thing? Oh dear Lord, can't think. A journal, art journal. Geez, I couldn't think. Why are my holes not right? One's flipped around opposite. Well, we're just going to leave that one out. Okay. So, ideally you want all your holes to be the same. I don't know how I managed to do that. But they're not all in the same direction. Let's do this again. That way. Let's pierce these so that they're more profound. Alright, there we go. Okay. Enough jabber jabber. You guys are gonna just be like putting some serious thought into maybe doesn't know what she's doing. Alright, so we got all these little holes, and yes, they're big. I just made the holes big so you can see. Now I'm going to take my needle and thread. I've tied it in one end, and I'm going to, if you were doing like a art journal with watercolor paper, start on one end, grab your painter's tape and tape that down. Okay, go in to the second hole in the inside, out to the outside, and I'm showing you in a blank slate so that you guys can see how you're going to put this journal together with all your chunkiness. Out, and you're in the inside, going to the outside. Okay, so we started from the outside, pulled it out in the inside, go back out, and you're going to do like that, and you're at the end. Go back up. The first signature is the only one you're going to go back up like this. Go back up through those holes in the inside, back in, out, and go back in. And then this time you're going to tie a knot in the inside, so you're going to go under the thread, okay, and you're going to have a little loopy loop. See that? And take your thread under the loopy loop and pull it tight and make a knot. Now you're going to go back in through that same hole out to the outside and pull that knot out until you hear pop. Grab your next signature and go back in from the outside to the inside. So inside here, go back into that second hole, whoops, second hole, out to the outside. Now here's where it's gonna, you're gonna notice. Okay, so now you're going to go to the thread on the opposite side here, under, and you make sure you're under both pieces of thread. Go under and over to the other side, making a U-turn. Okay, pulling it, and go back into that same hole you came out, into the inside, and pull. Right. Go into the third hole, out to the outside, and again go in through that, the two layers of thread there, from the first stitch or the first signature, go under, right, and go around and under the opposite side, and back into that same hole we just came out of, into the inside, Okay, go to the last hole from the inside to the outside, and then you're going to go, only this time you're going to go around, right, both pieces of thread. Grab your next signature. Okay, go into that hole from the outside into the inside, and meantime you're holding these. If you have clips, if you have arthritis, maybe have someone hold it, help you, because my hands are cramping up. Okay, and then you're going to go into this second hole here from the bottom up out to the outside, and then you're going to go into the stitch of the previous signature. Okay, so into that stitch from the previous signature you're going to do a little U-turn. Sorry, my eyes plays little tricks on me. Into that hole that you just came out, back into the inside, pull it, go in, out to the outside, go around, and you're seeing my hole's a little bit big, but that's because I pierced a big hole to the previous signature stitch. Okay, go back into that same hole, go pull it from the inside, go to the last hole on the top, out to the outside, and then again previous signature stitch. And guys, I can't see it because I don't have my glasses. I know I should have got my glasses. Okay, and pull, grab your last signature or whatever signature you have in from the outside to the inside, go back to the second hole from the inside out, from the inside, and we're going to go to the outside, and you're going to go around that last signature stitch, back into that previous, that hole that you came out from the outside, go in, go back from the inside down to the next hole out, okay, previous stitch, go over and under, back into that same hole we came out of, and it's going in the inside, last hole from the inside out to the outside, and then you're going to go into that last signature stitch under it, I can't see it. Wow, guys, struggle is real when you don't have your glasses on, right? Okay, over, and then you're going to go in to the, from the outside into the end, make a loopy loop, tie it off, go under, and Make a knot. Go to the outside, pull that knot until it pops out, and then what I do is I just secure it into place by making a couple little knots there, because that's not going to be seen. It's going to be glued in, and tie it off, and then you have a kettle stitch, and they're all sewn in. See that? It makes a lot more sense. So again, start from the outside, in, loop it around. The only time you're going to go up and back up, go down and back up, is for that first signature. Then you're going to go in, into the inside, bring it out to the outside, go underneath and do like a U-turn underneath the thread, and back into that hole that you came out of, and then go from the end and just keep rolling it. And that's it. It's pretty easy. And here is, see how it's starting to harden up? It's starting to get a little hard. Get that little casing in there. Once it gets really hardened up, then we will take that and we will attach it to our spine here, okay? So we'll do that in the next video. See you guys later. Till next time.